Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is in a larger correction, cannot maintain, at least not at the moment, the previous resistance area and failed to confirm it as support for now. So we seem to be heading into this larger wave 4 correction that I tried to mentally prepare you for in the last few days. I think we've pretty much nailed the top. Would have liked to see one more micro high to maybe 76k, but explained to you that we were very much stretched, and on the microstructure the minimum number of waves was already complete. So while one more high was ideal, the risk for a larger wave 4 correction was very high, and I gave you the confirmation levels to break that we are in this correction, and they did break. So I assume now that this larger degree wave 4 correction is unfolding. That's probably great for anybody who was frustrated to see that there were no new buying opportunities. Now we are finally heading likely into new support areas. I have to say, a lot of people get frustrated by these movements, which you shouldn't really. I read, when it's green, I always read messages, oh, when is it finally coming down? I have missed the boat. Now we're finally getting such an opportunity as we're navigating the mid stages of this bull run. Yeah. And this could be one of the few great buying opportunities in this bull market, but we need to see how this correction develops. The situation is very dynamic, so I prefer when we have no stability in the chart, like at the moment, we're just sort of going through support. As it's normal in crypto, it's going very fast, so I have to stay on the higher level, looking at the bigger picture. And at the moment, my assumption would be that this is the way forward. I don't need to change even the support area because it was already defined. So that was my goal, to prepare you for what's coming. And the support area is here between 50,840 and 61,875. I only mentioned it yesterday in the video that there were many comments to say that Bitcoin could never correct down below, below 60k anymore. I mean, maybe it doesn't. We'll see. We're still at 66k, but Bitcoin has broken, I think, initial support. So we're going to take a look at that on the smaller time frame in a very simple form. The way this correction should unfold is an ABC structure. So A wave down, B wave up, C wave down. Yeah. Typically, and that's what Bitcoin usually does. And I think I need to adjust this slightly. Yeah. Typically what Bitcoin usually does is that in an A wave, we see a reaction to the 23.6 fib level. That's around 61.5 to 62k. It's not exact science, but Bitcoin often sees that. From experience, I can tell you that. I mean, it can be different eventually, but this is what we see. And the situation is obviously very dynamic, so the prices might have changed when the video is uploaded, okay? But this is sort of, if you want to stay up to date in moments like these, I mean, feel free to check out the membership. I already posted an update earlier today with the relevant levels that matter. But I have to say a word of, caution, or at least to educate. There are more than 10 different corrective structures in Elliott Wave. It is basically impossible to say in the beginning of a correction, because also the structures unfold so quickly on the Bitcoin chart and crypto. That's generally a problem, or generally the case. That, an A wave like that, for example, okay, what exact pattern is it forming? Looks a bit like an impulse, but we need to see, and it's not really helpful to guess which exact pattern is unfolding. Now, we've seen most recently when there have been corrections, they've been very fast. That's different to, the earlier stages of the bull market. Okay, this one was very long. Okay, this one was sharp and fast. I can only say these corrections can happen fairly quickly, okay? So while I say that, we would expect normally quite a maybe a few weeks, but if this here was the initial 1-2 setup, and I'll try to figure out if there's another way, but I think this was the initial 1-2, then the wave 4 might not be that long, might not take that long. So we'll see. Essentially, what I do now, I assume the price will go down lower, possibly reaching this orange support area between round about 61.5k and 50.5k, and I will assume that we're going down lower as long as a 1-2 setup doesn't show up. Once a first so-called 1-2 setup to the upside emerges, which is an impulse, I will assume we've bottomed. And if the B wave shouldn't be a 1-2 setup. The B wave should be a corrective rally. But we're going to navigate that potential on the smallest time frames. Expect some volatility today. It is already very volatile. But here you can clearly see why I assume that the larger correction is unfolding. Minimum number of waves to the upside complete. Would have liked to see maybe one more high, but it topped. That's fine. That was outlined as one of the probable options. That's why we had the signals here on the chart. It's now coming down, looks quite impulsive, but as I said, it doesn't make sense to add a subwave count here to the chart because the situation is too dynamic. So we leave it like that. At the moment, the idea would be, okay, we're probably here in an A wave. As soon as we get a B wave bounce, we can look at the structure. If it's corrective, we will expect further downside and can then calculate the target range for the C wave. That will likely complete a larger degree A wave. I mean, maybe the fourth wave will be complete here, okay? That's what we don't know. But once we get close to or into support areas, I mean, even now it could be a buy opportunity. You just need to know that technically speaking, we could come down in this scenario down to 50.5K. So while we're catching the falling knife means being careful with buying and then being more aggressive once a first 1-2 setup unfolds. For anybody who's new, what is a 1-2 setup? Well, it's a small 5-wave move to the upside, which I will explain if I see it in the video or post it certainly for gold members first. But 5 waves up, 3 waves down. If a higher low forms, setup, tight stop. Yeah, that should not really happen in a B wave. Well, it depends. Okay, B waves can consist of so-called A-B setups, and they are difficult to distinguish. But it might still be worth, acting on that because it could be a 1-2. But it's too early to talk about that. We have not bottomed yet, most likely in wave A. If we have, it's not very clear yet because the situation is very dynamic. Typically what's useful from an analysis point of view in these moments is, I mean, it's possible that we find support here, right? Absolutely, because we are currently fighting with that lower support region there. It's broken, so I would assume we go down low, but we might find, support there, start the B wave rally. A lot of people get wrecked because they will leverage up here again. Then we come down and see. So yeah, I think at the moment it's not the time for absolute precision because the situation is so dynamic. We need to wait for a little bit of stability. I already gave you the relevant support area, the currently proposed structure. That might probably change. The wave count is not so important at the moment. What's important is, does Bitcoin hold support and do the bulls turn up before we break the yellow support region? That's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.